Well, good afternoon. I think we'll get going. My name is John Wright. I want to welcome everyone on behalf of HEP and our educational program on matching gifts. I do want to extend a warm welcome to everyone. We have a very nice crowd today, and there are a few small housekeeping details I'd like to go over with you. We do offer an extensive series of matching gift webinars, all of which are free and available on our website. So you can go to the Learning Center there and see, webinars given by major charities, small private schools, universities, etc. And so please take a gander at those. You'll find quite a number of your nonprofits giving those webinars. If by chance you get knocked off, either on the audio or the screen portion, just call back in and click on the link sent to you in the email. We will be recording the session today and have it up on our website, hepdata.com. And again, that'll be in the Learning Center. It usually takes us a day or two to put it up there, but it'd be great if you have in case you have an associate who could not make today's session. You do have an ability to ask questions as we go along. You'll see a place on your screen where you can send those to the presenter and myself, electronically, and we'll try to answer all those questions at the end of the presentation. Well, today we're very lucky to have a distinguished panelist here with us. Bill Campbell, I've known for quite a few years. He's been in the nonprofit world for over 12 years, and recently has served as the Director of Workplace Giving and Matching Gifts for both the Red Cross, and prior to that with Habitat for Humanity. So Bill brings with him a world of experience, and without further ado, I'm going to ask Bill to tell us about Match Portal. Bill?
Great, thanks, John. I always get a little nervous when I'm introduced as distinguished, but I will try to hold up my end of the bargain. Well, welcome, and thank you guys for joining this webinar to discuss Match Portal. If you're on this phone, you're probably an expert as well around matching gifts, and if you're an expert, you know how painful it can be. I always say that there are two areas that we really struggle with as nonprofits with matching gifts, the promotion and the processing. And we're hoping that Match Portal will help solve a lot of those problems for you so that more money can go to your clients. About $10 billion is left on the table each year in matching funds. That means there's a significant amount of money that is a benefit to the employees that work for companies that match that aren't going to cost us that otherwise could. So our goal with Match Portal is to mobilize those dollars and get them out to your nonprofits so you can use them, and also make the processing, not just getting the gifts, but make the processing a lot easier for you. Just going to walk you a little bit through the donor experience and some of the blind spots that a lot of nonprofit organizations have with matching gifts. As you can see, the current experience, you have donation at checkout, and then you have some sort of follow-up or follow-on after that. Maybe it happens in your receiving page, your acknowledgement page. Potentially it could happen in a follow-up email. And then in some cases, if it's an offline gift, maybe it's a mailing or another type of communication. All of those communications encouraging someone to take the next step, to search to find out if their company matches. So that, let's say the donor goes and does that search. These shaded boxes here kind of communicate the pieces of the matching process that up until this point were really hard to track, and you weren't able to kind of see and know whether a donor was taking those actions, know when to remind the donor to take those actions. So they would search, they click on the forms, maybe they would print the form out and actually fill it out and then submit it. And the first time you're hearing back about the match being a success is when the CSR platform reaches out to you and says, please verify this gift or log on and accept this gift. With the Match Portal experience, we really streamlined it. At donation checkout, as part of the checkout process, they're asked about the matching gift and whether their company matches. Immediately after they've submitted their gift online, we email the matching data that's needed to complete the gift to the donor, and then the donor completes the match. along this process, you're able to see what actions the donor takes. You're able to track and see when the match has been submitted, so that you're not left in the dark waiting for the platform to get back to you to let you know the match was a success. It's a real simple, easy integration into your online giving. We integrate into your checkout pages, and let me just take you to a live version of this so that you can see how the donor experiences it. So this is the Humane Society who's using this service. Click on the box, search for their company, and I'll just use HSBC because they're kind of used throughout this presentation. Then they fill out this donor information. And what Match Portal does is capture this donor information and utilize it to complete forms. So we auto-complete the forms and then email them to the donor for their e-signature. I'll just show you how the donor experiences that as well. So they receive an email saying that they need to have some follow-up action, and they're asked to e-sign the form. And as part of this, they can review to make sure that their data is correct. So a couple places where the donor gets to check, make sure everything's correct, and then e-sign. And when they submit, we submit this information to the company. And for those companies that no longer use paper forms, we bring all the data together that they need to make the match. So currently, a donor might give a gift and not have, they may have their receipt information, but they may not have all the additional information they need to fill out the form. Send this to them in email, send them the link to their company portal so they can log on and complete the match process there. So that's the part of Match Portal that helps solve some of the promotion issues. And now let's talk a little bit about how we solve some of the processing issues. With HEP's technology partner, Donate Double, they've made a Match Portal that captures all of the information here that you saw as part of the checkout process. This makes it possible for you to follow up with the donor, to track where the gift is, to see what actions the donor needs to take, whether the donor needs to take action. So I'll email Joe from Monsanto, thank you for your gift. We see that you still need to apply for your matching gift. Please take the following steps. In addition to that, you can see whether you need to take action in the MPO action needed box. You can also track when you've received the gift here on the side. And then you can also click through to the company's page to log on to verify the gift. Now for a larger nonprofit, what this really helps do is it helps you kind of separate your donors from the larger CRM pool or larger database that you have of donors. I know when I was at the Red Cross, one of the issues we had after disasters was trying to find the gift. Since the majority of our disaster gifts were given online because of the immediacy of the issue, this would have been extremely helpful for verification purposes because a Joe Smith, which would be a fairly common name in our database, was a lot easier to find knowing, in this matching gift portal. In addition to that, you can manage other parts of your matching program through here. Update your profile information so that your donors have the most complete information they need. Update your classification so you're maximizing the matching gift companies that will show up. And then manage across multiple platforms. You have an easy to integrate widget and API that you can use. Some of our partners have chosen to use the widget integration on their peer-to-peer systems because they may not own all of that completely in-house. Other groups most groups actually use the API integration for their checkout page, but it gives you flexibility across the multiple platforms you're fundraising with to integrate a matching solution. So it's capturing not just your traditional checkout pages, but your peer-to-peer and your other donation platforms. And then finally, this is my favorite part, is the portal management. I think every nonprofit that has dealt with a matching gift program has a Excel spreadsheet that floats around the organization where they keep all the logon information. If you're lucky, you have this Excel spreadsheet. Some people don't even have that, but that keep all the logon information in one place for people to use. This allows you to do a couple of things. One, it makes it organized. You go to one place to manage your verification of your matching gifts and have all the information in one place. Two, it allows you to expand capacity. After disasters at different organizations I've worked at, we would actually bring in volunteers to help fulfill the match or verify the match. Gives them one place to go to, agreed, shared upon place, not a floating document that might change over time. In addition to that, the third thing this portal lets you do is, let's say you're an organization that's dedicated to cancer research, and there's a pharmaceutical company on this list that you would rather not receive funding from because of your mission and your work. You can make that company ineligible in your search results, which means that they would not be coming up in the results that the donor saw when they checked out through the donation process. And we can always go back to this when it's time for questions. I know there's going to be a lot of questions here. One more thing I wanted to show you on the reporting piece. Most of the data with our API and widget integration will be captured and put through to your CRM. But if it's not, or if you want a side way of reporting, or you want a quick pool of spreadsheets on potential matching gifts and where they are and what stage, you can easily do a CSV export that will allow you to then upload into your CRM or do additional reporting. Let's say if your boss wants to know what next quarter's matching gift, what dollars they can expect to come in the next month or next 3 months, you could download this report and help give them the feedback on, here are the people who have taken the step to submit their gift, here are the people who need to do further steps, and really help you manage your management as well as your matching gift program. So we reviewed the portal, viewing the matching gift status in real time, access company portals, tracking the checks received. And so it's a fairly elegant and simple solution that answers so many of the problems that you might have with your matching program. And then most of it is focused on online donors, but working with the other HEP tools, we believe we offer a complete matching solution around matching gifts, taking the offline donors, your direct mail donors, and bringing them into an online matching solution. The traditional model for promoting matching gifts to offline donors has been to identify those people eligible for the match and then do a longer process of robocalls and mailings, and additional cost-intensive outreach to then hopefully win some of those people over for matching gifts. By using Matching Portal, you can use those same tools to identify available matching gift donors and then take it online to save those costs around promotion. So a couple of things I just wanted to talk about here. The employer find and the auto match, where you identify, using HEP's products, you can identify the matching gift donors in your database. And then basically after HEP delivers the spreadsheet with the results, you would just confirm and say, please upload this to my Match Portal system. And then in addition to that, we're looking to take the technology around Match Portal and the great work that Donate Double's done and integrate it into our eMatch donor link. And what that will do is it will allow someone to complete their form in the link as they do the search. We're hoping to have that for nonprofits to use it over the next, maybe the first 6 months of the year. But we're building that out as That's a really nice feature in the eMatch donor link, so that when they search and find, they don't just click on the additional information they need, but they can actually take the action of completing their forms right then and there. It's a fairly quick presentation, but I hope that we'll have some spirited conversation and good questions after, so that we can illuminate really all the great ways to use Match Portal to make you a success, and of course to serve more people in our work, whether it's serving people who are hungry, homeless, suffer with diseases, students that we're educating. Hopefully we can take that $10 billion and make a greater impact on our world. So thank you for your time today, and I'll just hand it back over to John to open up for any questions.
Yeah, we got quite a few questions, Bill. Thank you very much. It was a great introduction into Match Portal. We appreciate it. And here's a question from Ryan. If the donor is logged in, does the utility allow integration to self-populate the address info, etc., on the checkout page?
If the donor is logged in, so let me just go back to the example that we have. So the donor doesn't log into the portal. The portal is where you as a nonprofit will manage it. The only experience that the donor has is on the search for the checkout page here, and then in their email when they receive the information that they need to complete the match. When they log in, they're not logging into the matching portal. They're logging into their company's CSR program. So I'll just click here so you get a sense of what that pulls up. I think this is Cyber Grants of Bank of America. And so this is the page that they need to complete for their company. And so it's more, they don't experience the match portal, they experience having the information they need to take the action on submitting the match, and a greater connection to their company portal by having it there available, or a completed paper form, which I showed earlier. I hope that answered the question, but if we need more clarity on that, happy to give it.
Okay, next question is, can this only be utilized on the donation checkout page, or can it be used on confirmation pages so as to not disrupt the donor checkout experience?
Yeah, that's a great question. We've actually set this up with Salvation Army, and they're in the testing right now along this. So yes, this is their acknowledgement page. And then, with the additional receipting information that's captured there, we can capture this information and make it part of the acknowledgement process. We haven't seen enough A/B testing with the tool yet to say whether or not it creates a positive impact or a negative impact on the donor experience on the checkout page, but we do believe that in the checkout page you're going to get more traction. So a lot of it depends on your donor and how they react to this additional information, whether or not they see the match as a benefit that may make them up their gift. So I would just recommend some A/B testing in these different models, so that you can figure out what's the best return for your nonprofit.
Okay. Thank you, Bill. Next question is, do we have to utilize the donation form that Match Portal provides, or can we continue to use our own online giving tools?
Completely use your own online giving tools. I'm just going to show an example here of another one, so that you can see how it's been integrated a couple different ways. If I can pull it up here. So because of that easy API and also that widget integration, it really makes it possible to integrate with any number of donation systems. And we've integrated with Convio, we've integrated with Classy.org, we've integrated with a couple different platforms, and it's really just adding a text box or an additional field to your checkout page that then allows you to have this API or the widget to show up. And all of this here can be edited so that it's kind of up to your process or how you would like to see it shown up. I think in the Humane Society one, we just capture the company and take the other email. In the Team Rubicon example here, they will actually use the ask for the employer's email or employee email as part of the process. So complete integration into whatever your giving form would be.
Okay, thank you. Question on the pricing fee and structure. Do you want to take that, Bill, or you want me to take a stab at it?
Yeah, I'm happy to take that.
Go ahead.
So there's an initial setup fee that can vary depending on the complexity of what you're doing. It ranges anywhere from $1,000 to $3,000, and that's just working with our programmers and your tech people to get it set up. Setup has been really simple. It usually takes around an hour of just some coding. At most, it took 8 hours, I believe, was the longest the integration took for us, and that was definitely a more complex example. And then what happens is after the setup, you're only charged on successful matches, and 100% of the dollars come to the nonprofit. So though the match process has been facilitated by this tool, the checks still come to you, and there's no interference, or we don't hold any of the money. All of the money comes directly to you. And if you've used the portal to help facilitate that gift, we then bill back a 10% fee onto a processing fee to you as a nonprofit. So you keep 100% of your match, and then you pay 10% of your successful matches to back to for Match Portal.
Okay. Got a question here from Emily. Let me. How does the software work when both husband and wife work for different matching gift companies? Is there a way to send the match to both husband and wife?
So it'll all be based on the donor who completes the form. So I think it would be based on whoever did the donation. And so let's say it's a husband-wife situation, and the wife works for the matching company, and the husband's a stay-at-home dad, and he puts in the information. How he completes this portion of it will kind of drive the process, and then when he gets the eMatch form, if he needs to complete it with his wife's name, he can go in and edit it or submit it this way, but his wife would probably have to submit here. So I think it would get around that. Now, if we're talking about searching and doing the husband and wife gift piece there, in those cases, I think doing a search for your database, it would be a matter of kind of working with the donor so that they understood what who works for whom and getting that information back. I know that's a complicating issue with spouses donating and wanting to get the match, but I think if it's an online gift, it's pretty straightforward. If you're doing it as part of an employer find, I think we could talk about that offline and figure out a way to help solve for those. John, did you want to say anything around that?
No, that sounds perfect. I think you hit it right on the head there, I think.
Okay.
Next question is from Jennifer. She asks, what's the user experience been, colleges or nonprofits, and what has been their success? Can you give us any statistics or anything like that?
Yeah, the success rate's been really good online. We're still testing out the going from offline to online strategy, so we're still waiting on reports back on that piece of it. But for the online giving, it's been really successful. We've seen companies get anywhere, or nonprofits get anywhere from 10 to 20% successful matches. There's one example with that organization I showed earlier, Team Rubicon, where after the Nepal earthquake, a week after, they did a promotion, and it was 25% of their online donors said, search for my company. And of those who did the search, 75% of them were successfully matched, which at the time their online donations for that campaign were $200,000. They raised an additional $50,000 in matching gifts for that online campaign. So, we've seen a traction of 20% or an increase of 20% in dollars given and then, actually 25% of their donors said, I want to know if my company matches. And of that, 75% of those we were able to successfully get a match gift for. So if you've been in the business for a while, you understand that a 3 to 4% matching gift rate is probably really good for your nonprofit or your college. And trying to get into the 10% to 20% range. 20% is unheard of, before this tool, but 10% was really a rock star in this space. So for online giving especially, we think we can get you into the 10 to 20% range of successful matches.
And anything on the academic side, colleges? Bill,
I don't have any examples on the academic or collegiate side of things. I think especially looking at your mix of donors as a nonprofit or a college and university, I think it's going to be very successful for your online donors. I think for your offline donors, it's going to save you costs on matching gift promotions in the long run, and also give you more success around promoting it and making it seamless and taking away friction for the donor. So I see great success on both sides. I just am more familiar with the nonprofit side of it.
Okay. Here's a question. If we have a database of 10,000 donors with very little employer information, what percentage of your donors would you be able to find employers for? I'll answer that one.
Go for it.
Typically, on the files that we get in, we're able to match 30, 40, 50%. We've done better with business schools. I think our best was 70 or 80% out in University of California in Berkeley. But that I'd say on average, nonprofits are going to come in and 40% is a reasonable number. 30% on the low side, and closer to 50. It depends on where you are and your types of donors. But that's kind of what we get, and then we typically find 5 to 12% of those actually work for a matching gift company. So, if you're looking for hundreds of people who work for matching gift companies, our product employer find will do a very nice job for you. Okay, next question here. Okay, that's another cost question. Somebody who has our Gift Plus and eMatch, what would this cost? I think you've covered that one. And I guess the question here from Kelly is, what happens if we determine the gift is ineligible?
Yep. So our policy is that you determine the gift is ineligible. We only charge on successful matches, and so what will happen is if we've charged for that gift already, like the donor has completed the process, and from what we could see it's been submitted, then that's when we charge the fee. But let's say it comes back ineligible, or let's say long term it's been submitted and you come back and say we've never received the gift. There's 2 ways you can do it. You can contact us and we will refund the fee associated with that gift, or you can click here and mark it as rejected, and then tell us around, and then we can work on refunding the fee associated with that gift. So we're really only trying to we have success when you have success, and if a gift doesn't make it, even though they've been through the process of the search and we've done the processing, we will refund any of the fees associated with that gift.
Okay. Next question. Thank you, Bill.
Sure.
Does Match Portal integrate with accounts using CyberGrants, easymatch, or others?
So we've been in conversations with the platforms, so easymatch and CyberGrants, to create a more seamless integration. We're still in negotiations with them to try to make that work. There may be a future solution that would, if you signed up for Match Portal, that you'd get the benefit of immediately. But we're still in negotiations with them. If you've worked with any of those groups, I think you know that sometimes they're not so focused on nonprofit customer service as much as we would like them to be. So when I'm talking about making it easier for nonprofits, though they're interested, it's not necessarily their number one priority. My dream is to have it so that when they check out, you get the tracking information, but that it automatically submits and the donor doesn't have to take any action, complete a form or anything. But that'll be down the road, and we'll have to find a willing partner. So if you're a large nonprofit that wants to put weight on, let's say, a JK Group or a Cyber Grants to test this or to test that idea, we would love to hear from you.
Okay, a question here from Mary Kelly. Would you please explain the widget integration again? And what is exactly a widget?
Yeah, that's good. So I use API and widget often interchangeable. So as a technology person, I may not be the right person. I'm not really the tech person, but I will do my best. So an API integration is a full integration that allows you to access the data and it allows the information to go back and forth and be placed and live behind whatever your page looks like. The widget integration is some set standard coding that you can then add to your page, and it may, depending on how you integrate it, it may show up really cleanly and just be an added box that you view, or it may actually be you know, a little more set-aside box, or however you put it into the design. The only difference is the API integration is coding that your IT people would put in, and it would look a little better and kind of live behind the scenes a little more. The widget integration is easier, it's more standardized and set, and it may not integrate this seamlessly, but it'll integrate as a box or as a piece of the coding. Now,
would you show that example, Bill, maybe?
Oh, yeah, that would be great.
Yeah.
So this the Humane Society integration is an API integration, so you can see it's kind of much cleaner here. And then the Team Rubicon example is more of a widget integration, so you see this kind of box around it.
Okay. All right. Let's.
I hope that helps. And if you have more questions around that, we can answer those questions in much greater detail when we have a more technical, experienced person. Or maybe mention it to your IT person too. Maybe they can help explain it.
Well, you got to typically hear these new techie terms a few times, and then it becomes part of your vocabulary. But anyhow, next question: are there very many companies that the Match portal would not be able to access their forms? This is from Vicky.
Yeah, so about 40%. So there's a couple things here. You know, for this whole process, we utilize and work, and I mean, it's just such a great HEP database that you use for your eMatch search and some of your other products. So, you know, around that, we have, I think, you know, that in my experience over the years, the best database backing up all of this. And then around the forms, about 40% of companies use paper forms, and I know that we're constantly calling companies and trying to get updated forms and updated information into the database. So we believe we have the best database of forms. For people who don't use forms, we will provide the information and the link. So we do have the most up-to-date information. So I'm trying to. So I think you do have the best information, but it's only 40% of companies have forms, and the other ones have the link, which I showed earlier. John, do you think I should show that again, the way it looks for the link?
Sure.
I felt like I was getting just repetitive on how great your data is.
Yeah, well, I'll add in, Vicky, that we update that data every day, and there's 20, 30 changes to the database. You know, some days a bit more than others. But we still add about a company, not quite, a net new company every day. and it's thanks to our clients, that who ask us to check out a company, see if they really have a matching gift program, that keep our team of researchers, tweaking and adding stuff to the database. So we should have every form out there that, I know we have, a bunch in UK and Australia, and certainly the United States. We should, I don't say we have everyone, but it's certainly the best out there by far.
Yeah, and I'll just show this example again. This has the link. This would be what someone would receive if their company doesn't have a paper form. And these emails with the paper form and with the company link can all be white labeled and edited to have your approved messaging to your donor.
So just speak about reminders a little bit, Bill.
Yeah, there's a couple ways we can set up reminders. You can either automate them with us, or you can kind of manage the reminders yourself. To automate them, what we do is when we set up an account, we set up some rules around reminders. And as part of that, you can say, what I would like you guys to do is to go back to any donors that have donor action needed next to their name and send out, I think we go up to 3 emails or 3 email messages that, you would help us generate, and that we would send those reminders to help them complete, to remind them to complete their forms. In most cases, people want to do 1 or 2 and then take over the process on their end. Now, let's say you're someone who really is focused on kind of the care and handling of your donors. You don't want anyone else to handle it, even though you've written the text and you've created the email template. It's really easy after searching your statuses. So you just would search and kind of say, okay, donor action needed. Oh, well, that one didn't come up, but we saw one there. And your donor action needed, people would come up, and then you'd click and say, okay, I need to email Joe. You click here, and you can send Joe a note reminding him to complete his matching gift form. So whether you want to manage it or it's something that you would want Happy Donate Double to manage, we can take care of that.
Okay. Next question from Amanda. Does this integrate with Blackbaud Net Community?
We've integrated with a couple Blackbaud products. I don't have a complete list in front of me, but we have worked to integrate with Blackbaud, and we've worked with some large nonprofits around that, so I'm sure we could integrate it pretty simply. It's a super flexible API, and then also the widget, so that would be probably pretty easy to solve. I know we've integrated with Illuminate and Convio products, so I'm assuming that we'd be able to integrate with the next community piece. And I'll check on that. I'll check to see if we have it. That'll be one of my follow-ups, John. So if you can make a note of that, I'll check to see if we've integrated.
Yes, that's very good. So we have a few more questions on costs here from Lisa and Rock Kelly, I guess is her name. Anyhow, they're wondering how to justify it, the costs, and basically, if someone gave $1,000 match, they would get, what would they get billed? So it would be $100, is what Lisa's asking. Yes, that's correct. And,
so that's correct.
Yeah, I think, why don't you explain, Bill, what, how many more matching gifts we're going to get, I think, or we think we can, some examples maybe you have of, how that increased.
Yeah, so, I mean, a lot of the examples that we have, and there's the Team Rubicon one, but, you're experiencing 10 to 20% successful match, so 10 to 20% additional dollars to the campaign. The great thing is that you're not charged that 10% until the match is successful. So you really don't incur any cost until you have the money coming back to you. So we think it's really kind of easy to justify, we could actually walk you through some ROI documents and talk about what your particular case could net out for total dollars raised, and then and help you kind of make the case to your management. When I've talked with other nonprofits around this, they often have said, well, 10% seems high, considering that my online platform is only charging me 5% or 2.5% plus credit card, around 5% total. How am I justifying this percentage? What we see it at, and what it actually is around 1% of your total online donation pool is what you're paying for the service, but we're only charging you for the successful matches. So the on average 10% eligible matching gifts that would come through on your online portal. So there's a couple ways you can think about it, but we're taking a smaller segment of your current online donors, helping them easily get their matching gift taken care of, and in addition to that, helping your back-end processing. So we're not only helping you raise more dollars, but helping you save on costs on the processing side, to then net out 90% new dollars around matching gifts. So, when you think about the cost saved on the processing side, the extra dollars and benefits from the ease of promotion and ease of donors using it, we believe that 10% is a fair number for the product. If you have really large streams of online donors, I know that HEP has talked about some customized pricing around it. So that would be a conversation that we could have at a later date.
And Cassandra has a question here. Can you talk about the program that are not submitted by online, submitted offline? How do we update the portal manually?
Yep. So what you do is you use one of these products that are on the slide, probably the HEP Employer Find or the Auto Match, and then we would take that spreadsheet or the outcome of that search and upload it directly into the Match portal system. And when we upload that, it will automatically email the donor your white labeled and approved email message to promote the match, and then they would click through, they would submit the match, and you could track it from the portal there. So it's really just using one of these other HEP products and tools to identify the matching gift donors that you have, and then we'd upload it to the Match portal for you to manage from there. I hope that was clear. John, did you want to add anything to that?
No, I think that covers it, yeah. We'll get quite a few more questions. Thank you, Bill. Here, Jennifer would like a little clarification and walk her through an example of a company that uses, say, Cyber Grants, where the donor has to log on to submit the match. The question is, does Match Portal do that for them, or does the donor still need to log on and complete the form just as before?
Yes, the donor needs to log on and complete the form just as before. I can walk you through that. As I said, we've had conversations with these different platforms to try to get a better integration, and we continue to urge them to integrate with us to make it easier on donors. So those are ongoing conversations, and we hope that will come to fruition at some point. But the platforms aren't as focused on nonprofits' ease of use nor the donors' ease of use, but more just pleasing the company. So basically what they would receive is they would receive this email with all the information they need. If you compare it to the previous experience, depending on how you've set up your program, they would have had to search for their forms, go in, click on those forms, download the forms, or click through to the Cyber Grants piece, go find the receipt or the acknowledgement that the nonprofit shared with them to get the gift information, have those screens open, and then hopefully they have all the correct address information on the gift, depending on how you have your giving structured and who it came from. So they have that information there. If they don't have that information in the acknowledgement or the receipt, they'll have to go online and search for that. So, you're looking at a multi-stage process to try to submit this gift through their company portal, whereas here it's all in one place on this email. So they'd click onto the portal, log on to their company portal, and take this information from this email and put it into their company's portal and submit. The ideal process would be that as we captured these things and with approval from the donor, it would automatically submit, but we're still working on integrating with some of the CSR platforms. So to answer your question, yes, the donor still has to submit the gift through their company portal.
Got a question here on employer fine from Allison. She asked what is the charges for employer fine and auto match. The fee for employer fine and auto match is based on hits. In other words, only if we find the employer, title, and do we charge for it. And it depends on the size of the file, but that you submit to HEP for that. But you can use the fees for really small files are like 60 cents a hit, and it goes down to depending on the size of the file, 50 cents is probably a good number to use. So 50 cents a hit. Now that will get you the both employer find and auto match. So you'll find all the employers that match, and obviously all the donors that match is part of that process there. Next question here. If a donor fills out a form without us seeing it and we decided based on the company's parameters the fund is not eligible, what's, I guess, the step process with that?
Yeah, I might need to unpack that. I'm going to answer the question I think that's being asked.
I think you're right.
I think there's a couple things there that we might need to unpack. So what happens is, as part of the process, taking this data, taking the information from the checkout page, we will go against the system and the database around that HEP has for matching gift, take that information and confirm that they are an eligible donor, and then on this side we can track to see whether they're eligible or not eligible. Let's say someone submits and we find out they're not eligible, we're going to list it in here and tell you that they're not eligible for the gift. So the follow-up there would be to email, take the information here, and let's email Bob and say, Bob, sorry, we know you submitted, we wanted to follow up, you're not eligible for the gift. We actually have an automatic email that goes out saying, sorry, you've searched, you're not eligible for the gift, please contact the following person. And what we do is we take the data that we have around the company person in charge, and we say, please contact them if you think this is incorrect, or if you think that this is, or you'd like to add this charity to your matching gift program. So we have an automatic email, and then you can also follow up an email directly. So we try to inform the donor of the results of the search every time they do the search. So they're going to be informed whether it was successful or whether they were not eligible. And I don't know if I have an example of that email. So
I got a couple more questions here, Bill, from Wayne.
Sure.
How many companies currently accept matching gift applications from Match Portal? Have we had any pushback there?
Yeah. No, we've had no pushback around accepting the forms and the information from Match Portal.
Okay.
We email it to the name on file in the database, and that person is receiving emails and receiving information around matching gift. They're in charge of their programs, so we haven't had any pushback on that side. And in addition to that, I think that this is a question we sometimes get, that the PDF e-sign EchoSign process is recognized as an authentic and legal signature. So, so most companies I've talked to about this like how it streamlines it and likes how it makes it easier for the nonprofit. But we're still working on those CSR platform people. So.
Yeah, another question here from what qualifies the match being successful? That's from Jennifer.
Oh, the match is successful when submitted. So what we do is we track the process that the donor's taken. So when they submit the gift, when they submit their e-sign form, that's what we track it. And when submitted, that's when we charge the fee. And then if the nonprofit doesn't, so we go through the process here of who needs to take the action, and once all those action steps are taken and it's submitted, that's when we charge the processing fee.
Okay.
And if you don't receive it, then we'll you'd let us know and we'd refund any cost associated with that gift.
There's a question here: is there a separate fee for each service, or is it all part of one package? Maybe we really talked about 3 services here today, but Match Portal, which is one setup fee, and then there's a percentage on successful matches. It's 10% of that, and then Employer Find is based again on successfully finding your that the donor is matching gift eligible. We find the employer first, and then give you their title and usually a social network link as well. But the fees are separate, and we can get back to you if you want to get that spelled out for you in a little more detail. Let's see, any more questions here? Yes, we got a bunch more. Does this integrate with SmartCall, which is I believe Ruffalo Noel Levitz? It's from Jennifer.
Yeah. So we've had conversations. I've had conversations with one calling group or telemarketing or telephone group. And we've talked about integrating. We think it would integrate. We have yet to integrate with in any of those systems. So if you'd like to test it, that would be great. We'd love to kind of put it out in the marketplace, test how it would work, and work with you on that.
Employer Find and AutoMatch does integrate with SmartCall, so I just mentioned that. Let's see here. Is there any kind of notification when a donor responds to the process, or do we just get this information from the report that we run? It's from Rosemary.
So within the portal itself, you'd see kind of the response from the donor, and they would be receiving the emails. So let me just go back to there. So in the portal, you would receive the information here, and the donor receives the email with the matching gift information for them to submit, and then we can also set it up so they could receive a thank you email when they take their next steps. So that would be the communication, and you could either pull a report and communicate back to the donors that way, if you wanted to do a more automated kind of donor outreach at the end of the year for all your successful matching gifts, or you can just email them directly and communicate with them through the portal itself, because we've captured the email.
Okay. Well, I think we're, let's see if we have one more question here. Is there any setup for people who provide monthly recurring gifts? Is there an option to generate an email with aggregate giving totals over the quarter or over the year? So,
yeah, I think to do the recurring gift people, so you'd have the online gift for the one time that could be taken care of automatically. Let's say you either use your online checkout system, we could set it up through that if that's how you do your recurring gifts, or if it's an automated process, through your CRM and with your gift processing group. What I would recommend that you do is with all of your recurring gifts, you create a policy around pulling a report for your recurring gifts and then submitting and uploading them into the portal to then be followed up with the matching gifts. And you could do that either per donation, so like during the monthly recurring gift, and do it each month. That may be a bit, may feel a little like spam to your donor. So I think for those cases, I would recommend a quarterly outreach. And then in that case, I think what we could do is, really adjust the form and the information so it captures all three of their gifts.
Okay, I think with that we're going to wrap it up. And thank you, Bill, for answering all of those questions. I think it was great. And
sure.
Thank you, everybody, for coming. You can reach out to us, and we'll be glad to talk with you individually to go over anything that we need to clarify for you. So again, appreciate your coming, and thank you very much for joining us today. Thanks again. Thank you, Bill.
Thank you, John.
Yep, bye.